major homeless epidemic happening all over the world, primarily in English speaking countries when they had to artificially lower interest rates to dangerous points where people became over leveraged and now are losing it all. I want to thank everyone for all the emails they've been sending me, all the messages and feedback and information on what's going down. And with people that have worked 10, 15, 20, 30 years are now entering homelessness, are entering shelter mode, or getting in line at the food bank. And it's really heartbreaking and devastating for people that grew up and saw what the real Canada was, what the real America was, what the real Australia, New Zealand was, UK, what their countries were 30, 40 years ago to what they've become and transformed to today. It's really heartbreaking seeing what's happening. And, we've been very vocal about this for many years now. And I do bring up older videos we made, and a lot of people get upset with that. It's because we can, because we've been predicting and we've been discussing this and warning people, and all I've gotten in the last 10 years was pooped on. And now that things are happening, we are connecting the dots to previous information that we've given you guys. We can go back. We have a track record. We have the information. We've given the information, and I've tried my best. Now, homelessness is really becoming a major, it's going to become an epidemic of a problem by the winter of 2023 if you're in the northern hemisphere. And I'm seeing the food bank lineups, and it's scary. It's getting scary. Guys, if you want to get more inside scoop on information on past episodes of Mike of the Night, our live streaming show we do on Rumble and Odyssey, just go to realmikemartins.com and you will find what it is you're looking for here. We have all kinds of information on here that is basically scrubbed. Some of it's scrubbed, but we've maintained to keep it. And Rumble, so guys, Rumble and Odyssey is where we do Mike of the Night. There's 508 right there if you guys want to catch it. Okay, what's going on? Here it is. Now, this is a little bit of an older article, but I need to cover this one because new research suggests Canada's homeless crisis is bigger than current data shows. So it's getting out of control. And obviously, they're going to lie about the numbers and say they're lower than they are, right? But the current federal numbers suggest we only have 235,000 over the course of an entire year, over the course of an entire country experiencing homelessness. How is this like only half? If they say we only have 3,500 homelessness, I would say, okay, that's not too bad. But we only have 235,000 homeless people, and most of them are war vets and everything. So we'll connect the dots to that. Now, you go to are evictions from Abbotsford homeless camp illegal? Lawyers think so. So this is Abbotsford, British Columbia, where more and more people these homeless camps are getting either looted, destroyed, or taken out by, city councils and whatnot, and people have nowhere to go. And look at this, guys. In rural, I remember Sudbury, Ontario in Canada, a very rural part of Ontario, very, way out, kind of out there. And number of homeless continue to creep up in Sudbury. There are more people in need than there is affordable housing, says city official, and most of them are from Sudbury. So more and more people are being forced. This proves to you people living in a rural part of Ontario for many years are being forced into homelessness. And this tells you right here, they're from Sudbury. So they're not being trucked in or rolled in there or bussed in. They're actually from there, which is very, very scary. And we go into folks are scared to go outside. Nanaimo group calls for action on homeless encampment. So in Nanaimo, where is Nanaimo? Right there on an island off the coast of Vancouver there. So you got to take a ferry to get there. This island the homelessness is so out of control. A gentleman here, the Don, came in to see me in person and shake my hand and talk to me for a bit. And he told me the homelessness, the encampments are so out of control. They had to fence off all their parks, and it's turning into a complete disaster there. From word on the ground, the looting, the breaking windows of shop windows, just absolutely disastrous. And the homelessness is being shuffled around different parts. to create or to make it another city's problem, right? So there it is right there, Nanaimo. So there it is right there's the island right there so you could see it. And, I mean, to get out here and take a ferry, I mean, holy smokes. And in here, let's connect some of the dots here. We were warning Canadian housing locals forced into homelessness. Look, a new survey suggests the number of Canadians who've experienced homelessness in their lives may be higher. That was 2 years ago. Middle-class Canadians forced into homelessness due to money laundering, dangerous low rates, and dangerous low interest rates 6 years ago. And they had to raise rates, right? Vancouver seniors choosing to take their own lives rather than become homeless 3 years ago. Canadians being pushed into homelessness, 3,000 to 5,000 homeless war vets in Canada. That was 4 years ago. It's probably more now. Canada's dying fentanyl overdose problem, homelessness in camps has increased in Vancouver 5 years ago. And yeah, so we've been very vocal about this, trying to wake people up over the years. Now, I got into an interesting, not an argument, a discussion piece with Dr. Mysterio on the previous Mike in the Night, where, interest rates are going up, people can't afford their payments. But interest rates go up, and if housing is within 4.5 times your annual income, let's say housing is 4.5 times your annual income. Net, not gross. So let's say you net $63,000 a year, 120, 240, let's say 300,000 for the average home, because you're tying housing prices to wages and incomes. Your interest rates go up a few percent, you could afford the increase because, again, you're 4.5 times your annual income, not 23, 30, 40 times your annual net income. And that's the problem we're facing here, is that housing that stays in line with wages could handle an interest increase. My dad and my mom paid off a house at 13 or 14% interest. But wages and incomes were tied to real estate prices, right? So when people are bashing me, oh, you want interest rates to go up, people are going to lose everything. No. If housing was being tamed, instead of using money laundering and fentanyl proceeds from propping up and empty homes, creating these artificial bubbles, we wouldn't be in this housing crisis. People would just have to pay a little bit more for their mortgage payments on their $260,000 home. Instead of a $2.5 million home, realistically, that could be bought in Alabama for $40,000. So this is the problem we're facing here. And when wages are not tied to income, when incomes are not tied to real estate prices, it's over. It's game over for the middle class. And this is the economic takeover of the middle class that I've been trying to hammer into people all these years. So there it is from our homeless videos. And in Australia, warnings, death among rough sleepers could rise as cold weather and housing crisis bites. So there it is right there. More and more homeless people. And look at the hands. Not even an old person either. Look. And we now face a grim expectation. We can't avoid a recession. And that's changed the political reality for the voice and housing. So there it is right there. And at the brink, international students in Australia are ending up homeless and hungry. International students are struggling at an alarming rate, and more support is needed to help them manage, while in Australia, new research found. So there it is. And sold a dream, the international students lured to Australia with false promises. Students tell of being directed into substandard and unsustainable courses to attend, turns unregulated world of foreign agents. And we've been warning you about Australia everywhere. We've been warning you. Australia residents now are facing homelessness for the first time in their lives. Mayhem by 2025. Australians forced into homelessness. Interest-only mortgages come due. It's a debt trap. 2 years ago. Illegal housing on the rise. There is no housing crisis in Australia, as more Australians are getting bought out by investors 3 years ago. So look, Sydney, housing illusion, housing severely unaffordable. Middle class will be homeless by 2023, 4 years ago. And will Australia exist in 30 years? Because we've been, again, creating Australian immigration crisis, 115,000 people in 1 month 4 years ago. So this has been a really big problem. Let's head over to New Zealand. New Zealand's homeless have been moved off the streets, but the crisis endures. So more and more people in New Zealand are becoming homeless. And again, New Zealand poverty crisis triggered by Chinese parking money, young families leaving 3 years ago, and New Zealand using tents to house homelessness. Jacinta Ardern, wake up and stop selling out your country. 5 years ago. New Zealand housing severely unaffordable, disappearing Kiwi middle class 6 years ago. Jacinta Ardern, thank you. New Zealand housing market severely unaffordable, no more middle class 3 years ago. So we've been warning you guys. Look, overseas CCP housing buying in Auckland, leaving locals homeless and create mass exodus 4 years ago. So we've been vocal and on this for many years now because it's severely out of control. And again, they had to lower interest rates to these artificial interest rates, this Frankenstein monster that they created, and now it's coming back to wreak havoc on the villagers. And this is an epidemic of homelessness all over. We didn't even touch America. America's crazy. It's Amerifornia, and we've been warning you guys about Amerifornia, where it's wagons east, where America will basically turn into California, where Texas will become Texifornia, where Florifornia, New Jerseyfornia, everything will become California, with multiple layers of government, tons of homelessness, and tax to death, and that's what's happening right now. Unfortunately, a lot of the political figures on the hierarchy just don't care about this. They don't care about fixing these problems. They just care about moving them around or shuffling them around, or blaming and offering assisted suicide to homeless people in Canada and people that are poor or financially distraught because of the money laundering that disenfranchised. If they put money laundering laws in place in early 2010 in Canada and Australia and all those countries, and they actually tamed their interest rates, none of us would be in this problem right now. Why do you think they had to pull the trigger on the pandemic in 2019 or 2020? Because there was no confidence in government already. There was no confidence in government, but the Western media spun it as climate change. And then, like, climate change protests in Chile and Argentina and Egypt and Syria. Yeah, right. There was no confidence in government all over the world in 2019. Anyways, guys, I'm not going to get into that right now. It's this epidemic of homelessness. Please, leave your testimonies below. Let us know. Where are you? Are you experiencing an uptick? Or maybe you're not. Maybe it's actually not bad where you are. Or you're out off grid and you're not dealing with any of this. Completely off grid. And you're just not dealing with this and you're not seeing this. So it's not affecting you. Let us know in the comments below, guys. Look forward to hearing from you guys. And please share this video if you'd like. I've been working really hard towards this all these years, and I hope I've helped people along the way. Mike Martins here. I have spoken.